She smiled and said, "Let's open our marriage." I didn't argue. I just said, "Sure." But the next night, when I brought her best friend home acting like she was mine, her world cracked. And that was just the beginning. She had no idea what I was truly planning. Before we begin, please like this video and subscribe Relation Tales. We're grateful for each and every one of you. Let us know where in the world you're tuning in from. We'd love to hear from you in the comments. Let's begin. My name is Logan Thatcher, a 39-year-old structural engineer in Dallas, Texas. For 13 years, I'd been married to the woman I once believed was my forever, Camille Thatcher. She was everything to me. Sharp-witted, elegant, confident. The kind of woman who walked into a room and silenced it without saying a word. But sometimes the people who look the most beautiful holding your hand are also the ones slowly loosening their grip behind your back. That Tuesday night, Camille made her move. We'd had a good dinner, nothing unusual, pasta, wine, a candle burning low between us. The kind of night couples like us were supposed to cherish. Simple, quiet, stable. But stability, I would learn, was something Camille despised. She set down her fork, wiped the corners of her lips with a cloth napkin, and leaned forward, her voice velvet smooth. "Logan, I've been thinking, what if we opened up the marriage?" The words didn't register at first. I blinked. "What?" "You know," she said, twirling her wine glass, eyes locked on mine. "Modern couples explore, experience, evolve." There was no hesitation in her voice. She'd rehearsed it, practiced that tone, smoothed the pitch in her head. My hands froze over the table. "You mean like dating other people?" She gave me that smile, the one she used when trying to sell me something she knew I wouldn't buy. We'd still be us. Just with some freedom, no lies. Total honesty. I stared at her for a beat too long, and that's when I knew. This wasn't a random thought. This was a carefully timed drop, and behind that suggestion, there was someone already waiting. "Is there a guy?" I asked calmly. Her gaze faltered. It was quick, half a second, but I caught it. "No," she said too fast. "It's not like that." But it was exactly like that. That night, I didn't yell. I didn't fight. I didn't even ask for more answers. I just kissed her forehead, smiled, and told her I understood. I let her believe I was soft. But I wasn't sleeping, not really. I lay next to her, the same woman who once cried reading wedding vows to me, wondering who was on her mind now, who she was texting when she turned her phone screen away. I wasn't planning to argue anymore. I was planning to show her exactly what she asked for. The next morning, I made a phone call, one I never thought I'd make. "Hey, Jessa," I said, voice low. "I need a favor." Jessa Monroe had been Camille's best friend since college. Blonde, poised, ambitious. The kind of woman who always looked like she was about to walk into a courtroom or a Vogue cover shoot. Her voice on the other end was hesitant. "Logan, this is unexpected. What's going on?" I told her everything. Camille's suggestion, my suspicion, my plan. There was a long pause. Then Jessa said, "You want me to pretend we're involved?" "Just for one night," I replied. "Just enough to shake Camille. She needs to see what it really feels like." Jessa exhaled, long and sharp. "This could backfire. You know that, right?" "It might," I admitted, "but it's a risk I'm willing to take. I just need your help." Another pause. Then her voice came back. This time more certain. "Fine. But we're not crossing any lines." Agreed. The trap was set. Friday evening arrived with a deceptive calm. Camille was buzzing around the kitchen, humming one of her soft playlists, as she stirred the sauce for chicken Alfredo. My favorite. You'd think it was a date night. She was glowing, even excited. "Jessa's coming, right?" she asked, glancing at the clock. "God, it's been forever. I miss her." I gave a small nod, wiping my hands on a dish towel. "Yeah, she'll be here by 7. What she didn't know was this night wasn't about catching up. It was about confrontation, disguised in the most elegant wrapping. I wore a crisp button-down, spritzed a cologne Camille had always loved, but hadn't commented on in months. I was playing the role perfectly, attentive, charming, light on my feet, but my mind was steel behind every word I spoke. At 6:50, Camille, still in her kitchen apron, practically skipped to answer it. "Jessa," she squealed, pulling her into a hug. Jessa Monroe stepped inside wearing a fitted cream blazer, her hair pulled into a soft bun, a bottle of Merlot tucked in one arm. She looked composed, but I could read the nervous flutter in her eyes. "Dinner smells amazing," Jessa said, setting down the wine. Camille smiled brightly. "Logan's been helping. He's even getting good at chopping things without almost slicing off a finger." They laughed. I smiled politely, but inside I was watching Camille. Every expression, every flicker. Dinner began smoothly. Talk of old college stories, Jessa's recent consulting trip to Seattle, a little gossip about their mutual friend. Camille poured wine, topped off our glasses, and giggled like it was just another weekend. But then, I leaned in. "Jessa's been a great support system lately," I said, my voice smooth but deliberate. Camille glanced between us. "Oh?" Jessa didn't speak. She looked at me, unsure how far I planned to go. I turned slightly toward her. "Honestly, I didn't realize how much I appreciated her until recently. We've been spending a lot of time together." A stillness entered the room. Camille tilted her head, squinting slightly. "What do you mean?" I smiled. "We've gotten closer. Intimate." I said the word slow. Camille blinked. Then she laughed, thinking it was a joke. "What? Like emotionally close?" Jessa took a slow sip of wine. Her hands trembled just enough to make the glass clink against her teeth. I reached over and gently touched Jessa's hand. The room dropped 10 degrees. Camille's jaw tensed. "Logan," she said, her tone shifting. "What is this?" I didn't let go of Jessa's hand. "I'm just being honest, like you wanted. Exploring connections, right?" Her smile cracked barely. "You're serious?" "Camille," I said gently. "You brought up opening our marriage. I'm just doing what you asked." She set her glass down harder than necessary. "I didn't mean with her." "Why not?" I asked softly. "You said freedom. You said no rules, no lies." Her face paled. Jessa finally pulled her hand away and cleared her throat. "Camille, this wasn't easy for me. You're my best friend. But Logan needed someone to talk to." Camille's mouth hung open. "Talk to?" Jessa didn't meet her eyes. "And more." Camille stood up abruptly. Her chair scraped the floor. "This is insane." "What kind of twisted?" But I cut her off. Calm, precise. "You opened the door, Camille. I just walked through it." She stood frozen, her lips twitching with a dozen thoughts she couldn't say all at once. Her fury, confusion. She opened her mouth, then closed it again. And that's when I knew. Her confidence was cracking. She was unraveling. But this was just phase one. The real revenge hadn't even begun. Camille didn't sleep that night. She lay next to me under the same roof, beneath the same sheets, but the silence between us had a weight it never had before. She faced the wall. I faced the ceiling. Her breathing was uneven. Mine was steady, controlled. She had asked for an open door, and now that it was cracked wide, she didn't like what walked through. By morning she was distant, coffee in hand, no eye contact, no kiss on the cheek like usual. Her expression was tight, but she still hadn't said a word about last night. She thought ignoring it would make it vanish. It wouldn't. That Saturday afternoon, while she went out to clear her head, I opened the second phase of my plan. I went to Declan's Tavern, a quiet little spot we used to love in the early years. That's where I met Tyler Renshaw, my longtime friend, who also happened to be one of Camille's old college acquaintances, the kind she barely tolerated, but smiled at anyway. He raised an eyebrow when I told him the situation. "You're asking me to flirt with your wife." "Not flirt. Just show interest. Make her feel wanted. Let her taste what she thought she craved. But don't make it easy." Tyler leaned back in his chair. "You sure you want to play this game, Logan?" "She started it," I said, swirling my drink. "I'm just playing it better." That evening Camille came home late, sunglasses on at dusk. Her face was tight. She looked at me for the first time since the dinner with Jessa. "Can we talk?" she asked softly. I stood still in the hallway. "Sure." She hesitated. "Then was that real? You and Jess?" I held her gaze. "As real as you wanted it to be." Her jaw clenched. But she didn't lash out. Instead she sat on the edge of the couch and whispered, "It didn't feel like that's what I wanted. But you were fine with it in theory." I replied, "Until it turned until you weren't the one holding the leash." Her eyes glistened. "You're trying to punish me." "No," I said calmly. "I'm just showing you what happens when you bring fire into a house and think it won't burn the foundation." She sat there in stunned silence. The next morning, Camille got a text. Unknown number. "Hey Camille, it's Tyler. Ran into Logan recently. Hope you're well. You still look incredible by the way." She stared at the screen, Stunned. Tyler Renshaw, a guy she used to roll her eyes at when he made offhanded comments. She always said he was arrogant, too forward. And now, he was texting her. A second message followed. If you're free this week, I'd love to take you out. One drink. No pressure. She didn't reply right away, but I watched her stare at her phone for the next hour. And then, she smiled. That was the moment I knew she was going to bite. And she did. 3 nights later, she put on her black silk blouse, the one I hadn't seen her wear in over a year. Did her makeup soft sprayed perfume. She didn't look at me as she walked to the door. Going somewhere? I asked lightly. She didn't turn. Just catching up with an old friend. I smiled. Have fun. But what she didn't know, Tyler wasn't going out with her because he liked her. He was part of the show. Every word, every glance, every lingering touch that evening was scripted by, and what Camille told him over cocktails at that sleek rooftop lounge. She had no idea it was being recorded. Not to humiliate her. Not yet. Just insurance. Because the real fallout was still coming. She opened the door, but I was going to walk through it with fight. Camille came home that night, flushed with confidence. Cheeks lightly pink. Lips glossed. The faint scent of citrus and lavender trailing behind her. She walked into the kitchen like nothing was wrong, like we were still two lovers playing house. But I saw it in her eyes. The pride, the little victory in her step. She thought she'd evened the score. Tyler had done his job well. How was your night? I asked, not looking up from my laptop. She set down her purse slowly. It was good, refreshing to talk to someone with attention. I smirked, just enough for her to notice. I'm glad. I've always said you deserved excitement. She raised an eyebrow. You're okay with this? I shut the laptop and met her eyes. Camille, you asked for this. You created it. I'm just respecting your rule. Her lips parted, but she couldn't find words. There was a flicker of doubt in her face. Maybe she expected jealousy, rage, a crack. But I stayed calm, because rage is loud, and real revenge, it's silent until it roars. The next day, I sent Tyler the signal. Now I texted, and with that, he executed phase 3, exposure. That night, while Camille was in the shower, her phone buzzed. Once, twice, then again. She came out with her robe tied tight and froze at the counter. 3 messages, all from Tyler, but it was the 4th one that made her grip her phone tighter. I told Logan everything. He asked me to get close to you. He orchestrated every second of this. Her fingers trembled. She scrolled. That's right. You thought you were reclaiming power. You were the one being played. Camille's knees buckled. She sank to the couch in disbelief. The room spinning. I walked in slowly, holding 2 mugs of coffee. 1 sugar, no cream, just how you like it. She didn't touch it. You used me, she whispered. I sat across from her, calm, quiet, focused. No, I mirrored you. You wanted freedom. You wanted options. I gave you the experience you thought you were ready for. Her eyes welled up. You planned this? From the beginning. The moment you said open relationship, I knew you were already halfway out the door. I just wanted you to see where that road really ends. Her voice cracked. You made me feel like I was finally alive again, then crushed it. No, Camille, I said, leaning forward. You crushed it. I just handed you the mirror. She didn't speak for days. Her calls with friends grew shorter, her texts slower. Her appetite vanished. The boldness she once wore like perfume was now a stain she couldn't scrub off. She tried talking to Jessa. Jessa didn't answer. She tried reaching Tyler again. He blocked her. She tried pretending we were fine. I didn't stop her, because I was almost done. Almost. Friday night I came home early. Found Camille curled on the couch, staring at our wedding photo. The one we took under the oak tree in Hillstone Park. Both of us laughing mid-kiss. She looked up. Her voice was barely a breath. Are we really done? I walked over and took the photo from her hand. You wanted something new, something thrilling. You had it, but you forgot the cost. Her voice cracked. I miss who we were. So do I replied. I walked toward the bedroom and paused at the doorway. One more thing, I said without turning. Check your email. That night, sitting alone in the living room, Camille opened her inbox. There it was. Divorce papers. Not rage, not drama, not shouting. Just the clean, sharp ending to a marriage she thought she could mold into a fantasy. But some doors, once opened, don't close without damage. Camille stared at the document glowing on her laptop screen. She didn't cry. Not yet. She read every line, every clause. The legal words blurred into a single scream in her head. You're losing everything. She reached up and touched her neck where her wedding necklace used to hang. Gone. Just like her certainty. just like the illusion that she was still in control. She didn't even hear me walk back in. You didn't sign it, I said, standing behind her, calm as ever. She spun around. Her eyes weren't just puffy. They were empty. How long have you been planning this? Since the night you said we should open the marriage. She looked away. It was just a stupid idea, a fantasy, and fantasies have consequences, I replied. You thought the grass was greener, but you forgot who was watering the lawn this whole time. Her voice cracked. You humiliated me. No, I stopped you from humiliating yourself worse. She wiped her face, her voice trembling. Was any of it real, even when you held me last week? Real? I echoed. Yes, the pain, the silence, the effort, all of it was real. What changed is that I finally realized I deserved better than being someone's placeholder while they browse. Days passed. She didn't try to run after me. She didn't tell her friends. She vanished into herself. Meanwhile, I was living. Finally, I started traveling again, hiking, meeting new people, finding joy that wasn't tied to appeasing someone else's indecision. But then, one night, around 11:30, I got a knock on my door. I opened it. There she was, Camille. Her makeup was gone, hair tied in a messy bun, a sweatshirt that wasn't hers, just her, raw, real. She held something in her hand, a small velvet box. I found it in the drawer, she said, voice flat. You were going to give it to me on our anniversary last year, weren't you? I didn't answer. She opened it. Inside was the bracelet she'd shown me once in a boutique window. Said she loved, then laughed it off because it was too much. I had bought it quietly, planned to surprise her. That was before she surprised me instead. Camille's lips trembled. I killed us. Didn't. No, I said. You opened the door. You just didn't realize you were letting everything out, not bringing something better in. She took a step forward. I've lost you. I nodded slowly. You didn't lose me. You gave me wrapped me in silence, and handed me to your own illusion. The silence stretched. Then her voice cracked again. Can we try again? Please. I stepped out into the cool air, looked her dead in the eyes. You wanted adventure. You got it. But I've moved on, Camille. Not because I stopped loving you, but because I started loving myself more. I handed her the signed papers. Her hands trembled as she took them. Goodbye, Camille. She didn't chase me. She didn't beg, because she knew. She had burned the bridge, thinking she'd be the one on the other side. 6 months later, I was sitting at a small cafe in Asheville, North Carolina. Mountains behind me, coffee in hand. A woman across the table. Her laugh was real, her smile uncalculated. She wasn't a replacement. She was the reward for surviving the storm. And as I looked into her eyes, I realized, sometimes the greatest revenge is healing and never looking back.